1, 2, 2. The Hangout is on air. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SideQuest, your weekly gaming podcast. This is Dolly Radio, DJ, the Beaver and the Goat, Dimovsky. Joining me, Sam. Still screwed by Ubisoft, Dixon.
I didn't know we were supposed to do like lines of coke before we were getting on air tonight. They did call me DJ Dixie Cup in college, though, so there's my radio name. Yeah, because I was on the radio and I refused to have a radio name, so everybody else just called me DJ Dixie Cup. So
DJ Dixie Cup is a quite the badass name. Shout out to Tom, who was supposed to join us tonight, but then realized quite literally at the last moment that it's his anniversary.
Yeah, and for an engaged man, not the brightest of things to forget, I assume.
Great way to kick things off there. Oh, God bless him. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Ryan Gann, who is a wonderful human being and loves to leave beautiful incel quotes onto our podcast. Thank you, Ryan Gann. Shout out to you, my friend. Video games. How's it going, Sam?
Good. Haven't really played too many of the video games recently, but I have seen them, and they are around me at almost any moment of the day. So
okay, that's something, I guess.
Yeah. What have you been playing from 2008, or are we up to like 2009 or 2010 at this point?
We made it 2010. Actually, I have not gone back to my massive backlog. Okay, well, I will start off with what I've been playing because we'll do a little bit of that. There's a little bit of just a tad bit of news that we can cover in this shortened episode. First of all, it's hot. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it hit 89 degrees today, and we're supposed to hit the high 90s, possibly tipping over 100 this weekend here in Michigan. So that's always a fun thing. So yeah, I'll be staying indoors. Do you guys have ozone action days by you?
No, I don't even know what that is. So
that's wonderful. Not. So ozone action days for us are, it's kind of like, I guess it's Michigan or state government mandated, where they strongly recommend people do not go outside for too long, and they reduce driving so that pollutants don't get into the air, and do not water their lawns and conserve water. Essentially, to do everything they can not to die in this heat and not to pollute in the heat.
No, the worst that's going to happen is if you go outside in my neck of the woods, if it gets real hot and they just spread some manure out by the farm, might smell like some pig doo-doo. But other than that, you're fine. Yeah. And I mean, it rains here often enough. We always have the joke is in Pennsylvania that every time somebody mentions about it raining, somebody always goes, "Well, we needed it though." So,
needed it though.
So yeah, I've never had to conserve water other than I pay a water bill that I don't want to go up very high. Yeah, I've never been told, hey, like, don't go outside. Like, stay home and play video games because outside might kill you today.
Oh God. I don't know if they have this in your area, but by us, they have the really dumb saying, if you don't like the weather, give it 5 minutes and it'll change. Do they say that by you guys?
No, because if you just give it 5 minutes, it'll just keep raining or keep being hot or whatever.
Apparently in Michigan,
decided for the day.
Apparently in Michigan, our weather changes every 5 minutes. So we'll that's all we got. Yeah, so it's hot over here. So we're going to be spending a lot of time this weekend playing games and then heading up to we have a cottage, and hanging out there for a few days next week. You're not selling fireworks this year.
No, this is the first of like, oh man, it's been like 4 or 5 years. And even before that, I helped out. But yeah, I'm not roasting because as far as I know, this is going to be probably the hottest summer on record. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to avoid doing that. Because of that, though, I get to drive in a nice BMW convertible in a 4th of July parade this weekend, which is nice.
Well, la-di-da. How did you sing that?
It's good to know people. And
hold on. Are you the Pennsylvania princess? Is that what you are?
No. I'm driving the convertible. I'm not responsible for anything that goes on in the convertible or any responsibility for winning an award at being deserved to be driven around in said convertible. No, I just happen to know the guy who organizes the thing, and he called me very desperately, being like, "Hey, I need somebody that knows how to drive a car straight. Can you handle that?" I was like, "I don't know," but we promised
not to drink.
Yes, so we did have to have the conversation though that this car was automatic, because I don't think I've driven a manual car, at least not in like a video game, since I was like 12 years old. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to burn up the clutch in a nice BMW going down a straight line for a mile.
That's how I learned to drive a stick. I like my dumbass self, first, early adopter and everything. I ordered a convertible stick, a stick convertible in a little Audi, right when before I graduated from college, thinking that I was going to make a ton of money and more importantly, I was going to learn to drive a stick, learn to drive a manual by the time I got the car. And so I ordered this car, a little German car, and I had like 6 months before the car was set to arrive in the US. So I went and played a whole ton of like Ferrari racing games at my local, what's that game zone place that they have at malls? Not Dave & Buster's, but whatever, some arcade. And tried that, and I did that for quite a while until I learned to actually drive a stick. So I thank you, video games. And I stalled out the car several times, though. I don't know.
Yeah. The last time I was I drove a stick, I think it must have been when I was in college. But a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, just drive this car back," and I'm like, "Okay." And I got in, and we made it about 3 blocks until I stalled it like 4 times at a stop sign. I was like, "All right, somebody else, like you can handle this."
Well, my drive home from the dealership, I had talked to a buddy of mine who kept saying that he was a fantastic manual, driver, car driver, manual driver, knew how to drive a stick. Said, "All right, Gustavo, you're coming with me." So we get to the dealership, and I said, "So you got my back in case I face any trouble driving this thing home?" And he says, "Well, I've never really actually driven a stick. I mean, I've been in a car and I've been in the driver's seat, but I haven't really done a whole lot of driving." So, you son of a bitch, you totally tricked me.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a jerk. What a jerk. But I do have one cool story. One game that I have been playing has been the dunking on other parents game. And I don't know if you saw my tweets last week.
Oh, boy, man. Yeah.
You saw my message in our Discord chat, but I have to get this story out because it's phenomenal. So my daughter has her dance recital. And the way they do a lot of these recitals is they're over 2 days because there's so many kids that are dancing, and they have a lot of scenes and a lot of dances and stuff. And so they do it over 2 days. Some kids will only dance one day or the other day, but my daughter danced. She had both of her dances both days. So there's 8 scenes total with an intermission in the middle. So that gives people a break to kind of get up, go to the restroom, and come back. These are like 3.5 hours long, so they're horrifically long. Set through the whole thing fine the first day on a Wednesday. The next day on Thursday, the second and final day, I might add, I just had to bring my laptop and do some E3 catch up. I'm still writing articles, and God, I'll be writing articles for a while. And so I picked up, got my laptop. We sat down. I told my wife, "Hey, I'm gonna go outside and do some writing out in the hallway. Just text me when you're getting towards the end of scene 3, because my daughter's first dance is in scene 4, and that'll be perfect timing for me to come back into the auditorium." So yeah, no problem. And so I head outside, and we had bought tickets in the second row, so kind of towards the left side of that row, seats 17 through 20. So there were 4 of us there. And I get out and kind of start working outside. And I get a text from my wife telling me that scene 3 is just starting. I said, "Okay, well, let me know when scene 3 is about to end, and I'll come back in," because she had the program with her. She says, "Okay, by the way, some lady came in and sat down in your seat." I'm like, "Well, that doesn't sound right, but maybe she just came and sat down. When she sees me come in between scenes, she'll get up and out of the way." The following text was, I'm arguing with her and her kids who are sitting in front of us about sitting in these seats. I said, what are you talking about? She says, come on in here. So I pack up my stuff reluctantly. I was right in the middle of a great article. Get inside the auditorium, and I have to wait because the kids are still dancing, and I didn't want to kind of, walk in front of a bunch of the parents. And I'm seeing my wife. I'm kind of off to the side, and I'm seeing my wife like basically in a full-on argument with the couple in front of her, and this little old lady sitting next to her. The couple in front of her is like pointing fingers and screaming, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, they're in the front row. They're the most obvious people. All the kids who are dancing are seeing this happening. I'm like, okay, well, the scene ends, third scene ends. Some big dude in the front row gets up and kind of walks past me as I'm walking down towards the second row. The little old lady that was sitting next to my wife in my seat gets up, shuffles past me, and goes into that front row where the dude was sitting. I thought, okay, they're obviously all related. Or they know each other. So I sit down next to my wife, and I thought, okay, problem's over. No issue. I'll just kind of watch the show now. Well, the dude turns around, a dude in front of us, and says, you have no right to sit there. My mother-in-law was sitting there. Those are our seats. I said, well, hold on, dude. We have these tickets. These are our seats. He says, nope, those are our seats. We bought tickets. And so he went from yelling at my wife to yelling at me. We have these seats. They're our seats. Now, whenever I buy tickets, you have to buy these tickets online. Whenever I buy tickets, I make it a point to double check that I can't rebuy those tickets again in case there's some computer error. Could not happen. This time I checked it. No error, no issue. I went on later that night when I bought these tickets to make sure that I didn't screw up because, I have a fear of screwing up with technology. And so, yeah, flashback to that day. He's screaming at me. The mom, the lady turns around, his wife, and she's screaming at me. And then I get this feeling that something's not right. It's not adding up. Finally, I had the ticket in my pocket, and I'm getting ready to take it out. And this dude is screaming at me. He's beet red. You're jerks for taking our seat, and you can't sit there. We paid legitimate money for this. I'm getting ready to take my ticket out. And I look down at my ticket, and I was just about to flip it around to show them that we have these seats too, when the lady, his wife, turns to me and flashes both tickets at me and also yells, these are our seats. We bought these seats. And then it hits me. I look at my wife. I look down at my ticket. There's a combination of 4 letters on the ticket. These letters are J-U-N-E. And the little number, there's like 2 digits next to it. In this case, it was 21 for the 21st, which was Thursday. I strategically put my finger, you can see it on the camera, I put my finger on the underneath those 2 digits on my ticket, and I flip it around to them. And so she screams, we bought tickets for these seats. Those are our seats. And I turn to her, look her dead in the eye, and say, yeah, but our tickets are for today. Immediately, it was like a nuke had gone off. Everybody was screaming, stopped. She looks at her ticket, turns completely white like a ghost, looks at her husband, and you could feel that they went from being just vitriolic anger to complete embarrassment. They had bought tickets for June 20th, the day before. So not only were they yelling at us that we took their seats, but they were actually sitting in somebody else's seats because they bought tickets for the wrong day. I was so freaking happy with myself because it was like a nuke had gone off. There was a crater in their spot. It was like the most dad moment for me. I like I said, I've been telling everybody I've been dunking like Shaquille O'Neal and bringing down nets. I was so proud of myself. The people all around us who were shushing us during this whole thing happening covered their mouths because they couldn't believe that, you know, what had just happened. The way I did it with just, yeah, but ours are for today was just a perfect combination of words to the point where I think I killed the guy because he did not turn back around the whole rest of that scene, gets up after his daughter dances and leaves. It never came back, mind you. At the intermission, his wife finally turns around and instead of saying, I'm sorry we screwed up, she turns around and says, I don't know what happened. The computer must have messed up. We bought all of our tickets together. But hey, you know, to make up for it, we'll sell you these tickets for tomorrow. And so I turn to my wife, and my wife turns to them and says, there is no event tomorrow. So they tried to sell us yesterday's tickets for an event that isn't taking place tomorrow. And it was a wonderful experience. I was in the full-on Twilight Zone for like 15 minutes there, but just hysterical. I was patting myself on the back the entire rest of that show.
There's two things I don't understand about this story. The first one is like, was there no one checking tickets to get into this place? Because you think somebody would have been like, hey, sorry, like these are yesterday's tickets, but instead they were like, have a great show or whatever.
So what I'll answer that one with, they were supposed to check tickets, but they had volunteer parents checking tickets, so nobody was actually checking tickets.
Yeah, I guess then my second question is, it's like, once you had a seat, and what I assume the older lady that was in your seat had a seat, like, why is there a need to have an argument like after that? Like, you guys are all seated, you're gonna see your kids. Like I don't understand why it was so upsetting to them that they didn't have those specific seats.
I don't know. They were all still sitting next to each other. There was probably about 10 people in this family that showed up for the one little girl. And they saw her dance. The entire time I'm poking the bear, because before their daughter goes on, I keep turning to my wife and saying, "Do you think they'll apologize?" And I make sure it's with an earshot, like an asshole. Do you think they're going to apologize? Do you think they're going to say they're sorry that they screwed up? Do you think they're going to apologize? Not one time that they apologize. It was a total asshole moment on my part, but it was kind of like a victory lap, and I was holding the checkered flag and going around Indy. Oh man, it was pretty awesome. It was an awesome experience. So that set off a constant barrage of good things happening throughout the week, gaming wise. The Nintendo E3 sale, I think, was wrapping up that Thursday. So I probably bought probably about like 10 games on that damn E3 sale on the Switch shop. And I'm digging into everything that I bought right now. I'm checking on my Nintendo. I will, it was, first of all, I love that there are E3 sales, because I think PlayStation had a flash sale. Xbox had a sale, although I haven't bought anything on the Xbox in a few years. And the Switch, obviously, and then Steam summer sale is still happening, I think, right? So, yeah, I'm looking at, I've bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games since E3. 8 games since E3. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, so I got into that. I do like Fortnite. I picked up the cooking game. What was that cooking game on the Switch?
Battle Chef Brigade?
Battle Chef Brigade.
That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that is so good. Mm-hmm. I like that game. I also picked up, let's see. Today I've been playing Mario and Rabbids, or the last few days, the Kingdom Battle expansion. I think that launched yesterday, actually. So I started playing that, and that is so good. I'm about an hour in, and it's a meaty storyline. Apparently, it's about a third to a half as big as the original Mario and Rabbids plot. There's a lot to do. I really like the way. So you played Mario and Rabbids?
I haven't yet. It's definitely it's one of the games like on my list to do, but those tactics, like kind of like turn-based games, like I have to be in the right mood to play those, and I've got other stuff like before that, so. I'll eventually get to it. Maybe I'll take a flight or something sometime and be like, no, I need a Switch game, and that'll be it. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. I just haven't had a chance yet.
It's I'll say it's a lot of fun. It's a fantastic game, and that's why I had it listed in my top 5 for last year. I hate to say, I don't want to say it's a casual XCOM style game, but they did a phenomenal job of making turn-based strategy something that was like super accessible to people who maybe don't play it all as much, but there's still a ton of strategy if you want it. There's those levels of options I think work really well. So yeah, I loved it last year, and this adds so much more to it. Now it's a whole separate story. I wouldn't be surprised if they just sell this separately down the line so you can play it without the DLC. Although I also wouldn't be surprised if they released kind of a full-on Game of the Year package later this year for it. But it is really good. Been playing a heck of a lot of that. Donkey Kong is a great character. It's so well written humor-wise. And when they debuted they kind of had the launch trailer at E3 and revealed enough of the plot and the characters you'll be playing. I have to say, yeah, Donkey Kong is written so well, but really the rabid Cranky Kong is fantastic because it's obviously it's Rabid's cosplay as a lot of the characters. You have kind of the actual character and then the Rabid version, and they weren't going to have a Rabid Kong because in the main game, like the first boss battle you face is against a rabid Donkey Kong. So they weren't going to do that again, even though you have Donkey Kong. So they put Cranky Kong, and he's fantastic. He is written, characterized so great in this game that it's just tons of humor, and it's highly recommended if you haven't played if you have Mario and Rabbids, and I can't recommend that game enough. It's a lot of fun. It'll plenty of content, a lot of challenges afterwards, multiplayer stuff that they added last year. So it's totally worth the time. So I've been playing that. I've been playing the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2. That is hard as fuck. There are awesome challenges for this game. So again, it's like a whole separate single player experience for Splatoon 2. It's basically Splatoon 1.5. There are more levels than there are in the single player for Splatoon 2 proper. So it's actually a bigger single player experience. Okay. What's that?
I just said okay.
Okay, yeah.
I knew there was another single player, but I didn't know it was larger than the first one.
There are I think they said over 80 levels in this expansion, or I think the original single player had something like 40 or something like that. So it's basically double what the original single player had. But it lets you play as like the Octolings, and the challenges they are more like challenges rather than just levels, puzzle levels. So like one of the early challenges is getting this big bowling ball from one end of the arena area to another, but you're going over like ramps and valleys and pits, and you have to go across rails, and you have to launch ink up just at the right spots. The bowling ball won't get splat. It's done really well, and they introduced a few new weapons in there too. So it's totally worth picking up because it really does change the game quite a bit. It feels like a different Splatoon game, I guess. It's like the actual Splatoon 2. Have you played Splatoon 2?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did you play the first Splatoon?
Yeah.
So Splatoon 2 is basically Splatoon 1.5, right?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the single player stuff was a little bit different, and
a little bit, but not different enough. I guess.
It was basically like a remixed version,
right? When it launched, I should say, when the whole game launched, it was like a Splatoon 1.5. But
I mean, now they've added enough new maps and like new weapons and stuff like that to that game, and it's cool that like at this point, they still have an update schedule. They're usually about once a month. There's a new stage, maybe some new weapons and stuff like that. But this is kind of like giving players that have been online the whole time like a different thing of being able to test some of those skills maybe they've learned while playing online, and give them a little bit more concentrated fun, because the single player in both the original and Splatoon 2 are both really good single players, and I feel like those kind of get ignored just because that game is a multiplayer like shooter first and a single player game second. But yeah, I think Splatoon 2 like by itself is a pretty good package, but that Octoling thing sounds fun. Did they do anything to expand? Now I can't think what it's called, but that when you go
Salmon
out,
Run?
Salmon Run. Did they do anything to expand that?
No, not for this. They kind of they created it and they've kind of left it there. The only little tweaks have been just like mechanical tweaks here and there, whatever there have been bugs and issues and stuff. So no changes to Salmon Run, but you can, once you beat, and I haven't beaten the Octo expansion yet, but once you beat the Octo expansion, then you can actually play as the Octoling in in a lot of the other modes. I don't think in the other single player mode, but in the online and the Salmon Run mode, I think you can actually play as the Octoling. So
that's cool.
But Nintendo said that there's not going to be another, you know, brand new expansion, big chunk of DLC. They said that they're going to continue putting out content through the end of this year, at least. But we were, my daughter and I were kind of chatting because she's an absolute junkie for Splatoon. In fact, that she loved the Octa expansion so much, she decided to create her own. You know, she was playing with my my account on Splatoon, and she went ahead and started playing with her account because she wanted to start fresh with the character and re-earn a lot of the stuff. So, but we were kind of chatting a little bit of how it would be really, even though they're not going to be releasing any more big DLC, it would be cool if they re-released the original Splatoon campaign in this, right? So the original Splatoon 1 campaign, because there still are, the way Splatoon's set up is that you're kind of in this town square, and there are little areas and alleys off to the side that you can access, and they have new like mini games or DLC or the online stuff. And there's like one more area that's kind of off to the back and to the left that totally looks like it could be a one last piece of DLC or another mode that could be coming, you know, or an area for another mode to launch, because it's kind of just sitting there. There's nothing there, and it feels like it's empty for a reason. So I'd love if they re-released that original campaign and threw it in here for, like, you know, I'd pay like $19 because you can't play the original Splatoon because on Wii U, and it's not going to be coming to Switch. They're not going to re-release the first one, but they could release the first single player campaign as his DLC, and I'd be all for that. I'd love to play that again, especially if you can, you know, open up and unlock some of the original weapons and costumes, that kind of stuff. So yeah, the Octo expansion is really good. I picked up Lumines. That's fantastic because there's the Rumble, the HD Rumble. So there's some really cool HD Rumble effects. I've only played like for like 20 minutes, and I'm already completely in love. It's my first Lumines, so nobody hate me. But it feels like it was meant for the Switch the whole time. Yeah. So I mean, I know it was a PSP game in its launch, and it obviously fit really well on the PSP, but yeah, it feels perfect on the Switch. So, and then I downloaded that the original Donkey Kong that Nintendo created, that Donkey Kong arcade game, and it's Donkey Kong. I really do wish that they came out with that Nintendo worked on a brand new Donkey Kong, you know, type of experience rather than the country games. But who knows if that'll actually happen.
Can you play that the arcade game in like a vertical orientation?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it. Somebody is kickstarting that the vertical sticks.
Yeah, the like the dock for it, so you can play like all the, because that and like Ikaruga or whatever is coming out, and or whatever, that bullet hell shooter that everybody loves from the Dreamcast. So
there are a bunch of all the retro games can be played vertically, right, to make it mimic an arcade box. So yeah, I think it's a cool idea, and I'm tempted to pick up that dock just for the heck of being able to grip and use the controls and stuff that way. So
I love that we've seen like that. Everybody's like slowly remembering that some of these old arcade games were like vertical. Like when we went to the My Arcade booth at E3, their big product was, here's this Namco machine, and it's a vertical orientation for the LCD screen, because that's how most of these games were played. And a lot of these, like, you know, like plug and play classic things, you're just plugging them into your TV, and they're not, you know, they're not the exact same way that the originals were. But I'm glad that people are slowly like, all right, like, you know, it was designed for a vertical screen. It like works best and plays best on that. So let's make it that way.
Yep, totally. I've also played the Captain Toad demo, which is like 3 levels. And God, Captain, you know what? I wasn't going to get it. I wasn't going to get Captain Toad, but playing this demo, I may have been suckered back in.
Listen, man. Captain Toad is the best game for the Wii.
It is so good.
And people are finally going to get to realize that Captain Toad should be the star of every Super Mario game going forward. They won't get rid of him. He was in Super Mario Odyssey.
He was.
He'll be in whatever next version of Super Mario Brothers, which part of me wants to say like that it's going to be Super Mario Galaxy 3. I have a good feeling that's probably going to be our next Mario game, but Captain Toad's going to be there because he's the coolest Toad that's ever toaded.
He totally is, and we can toad as much as possible. I hope that they bring him into Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I part of me fears that it's going to be because what is it, like Daisy is one of those Echo characters or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll throw like Captain Toad with Daisy instead of Peach or something like that. Like that's my fear. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and then finally, I've been playing more the PS4 game God of War. So my goal is to complete that over the next like week and a half if I can. It's such a huge game though that it's a lot. It's not like a 10-hour experience, right? Like the previous God of War games. This is pretty meaty open world-ish game. So I know some folks who have got like 30, 40 hours into this game already, and they're not done yet. So I don't know. We'll see how much I get sucked in. And then finally, I've been playing Mario Tennis Aces. I think you've been playing this as well.
I have, yes.
I'll let you talk about this then, and I'll chime in.
Well, Mario Tennis Aces is probably the best Mario sports game since Mario Tennis on the N64.
Okay, wow.
It is a great, like, the gameplay feel of Mario Tennis is great, and you can play the standard mode, which has all the cool, like, Nintendo, like, we're going to add stuff on top of tennis and trick shots and weird, stamina gauges and stuff like that. And then you can play, I think it's called simple mode, which is just normal standard tennis. And this is the first one that I think all that extra nonsense that they throw on top of sports games actually feels like it fits. And I think is easy enough to understand and come up with strategies of that within a couple matches. Somebody that, might not want to play with that stuff can at least figure it out and kind of feel out how to play it that way. So with that being said, best tennis game, love it, couldn't enjoy it more. Everything around the actual gameplay of playing tennis kind of sucks. I haven't dug into the campaign that much, but I've heard that game gets a little like ridiculous towards the end of it, and not in a fun way, in a more of you have to be completely precise or you're not going to move on kind of way. But my bigger complaint is the online components. Now, apparently there's a patch coming out on the 29th to fix the tournament mode. And I didn't even know this was an issue where the people that were getting the highest ranks in tournaments had nothing to do with wins or losses, but purely about the number of matches they had played. I guess that even a loss was giving you some points, so you could just be constantly like just playing games. Yeah, and it didn't matter. As long as you were playing games, you were upping your score in the ranking.
Interesting.
So that is not, I guess they're fixing that to be where if you win a match, you go up points. If you lose a match, you go down points. And if you like DC from a match, depending on like if they feel like it was malicious, like it was towards the end, or if it was just a DC, they'll balance points throughout that. I didn't read a breakdown of how that works. But that's pretty much how Mario Kart does it. Like you start at a base value level of points, and if you win, you go up. If you lose, you go down. So that's fine for tournament players. I really, I was somebody that's going to play enough tournament matches to unlock whatever character they have for that month, because that's how they're going to be releasing new characters, I guess, every month. But they're going to be tied to the tournaments where you got to play a handful of matches, and then you'll get that character for free. My bigger complaint is how playing with friends works. Now, if you want to play 1v1 versus a friend, perfect. No problem. You can even create a lobby and 6 of you can jump in and, I guess winner stays. I've never seen that scenario, so I don't know how that works. The more disappointing thing is how doubles works in that game. If you want to play doubles with a friend, there's one of 2 ways you can do it. The first way is to join in a party together, an open party, and set it so player 1 and player 2 are automatically teammates. So then you create a room, and you have to bank on the fact that your friend connects to you before anybody else connects to you, so they can be player 2 so you can play together. The other way to do it, and the way that's more successful, is both you and your friend start searching for a doubles only match at the same time, and hoping to God you get on the same match, and hoping that their settings are set so player 1 and 2 are playing together, and not random, because if it's random, even if you join the same group together, there's no guarantee that you're playing on the same team. The other way to do it, and the more aggravating way, is if you have 2 people per console, then you're perfectly fine. However, if me and my partner want to play against our friends online, we can't join as a 2-player group online with other random people. We have to join with another 2-player group. But you can't be a single player and join another single player and become a 2-player group online. You can only be a 2-player group if you're playing 2 players on the same console. So if I want to just play random doubles matches with my buddy, it's almost impossible. Now, if you have 4 people and those are the 4 people that you want to play matches with, fine. You can set it up. You can back in and out, set your party to private, and you can set that stuff up. But if you have like 2 people, you have 3 people, 2 people on one console, but 2 random people online, you can't get the matches that you want. There's also no doubles tournaments. Which is,
you were really complaining about this one.
Yeah,
right?
which is like another victim of not being able to just join online with your friend and search for doubles matches. I assume that's why they don't allow just doubles partners, because no one's going to want to connect with a rando and try their best to go on. So that is extremely aggravating, especially because the reason that we were all excited for Mario Tennis is because we wanted to play with a bunch of our college friends, because we used to play Mario Tennis all the time.
Back in college, exactly.
Yeah. And, it wasn't an issue, all of us being local then, but it is 2018. We are grown adults. This is an online game, and we can't, just make a custom lobby and play the game matches we want to. And to stack on top of that, there's only 2 gameplay modes that you can actually play. Now, you can play the simple or standard online all you want, but you can either play tiebreaker rules, which is the first to 7, while being 2 points ahead, yada, yada. Or you can play a single set. Even though the game, mentions that, this is a 2-game, 1-set match, but you can't set it any higher than that. Tennis very rarely ends in 1 set. And I just don't understand. These are tennis options.
Basic tennis options.
The N64 Mario Tennis had these options. What are we doing? Camelot, you made the N64 version too. No one looked at that and let's expand on this. Not let's just make a worse version. I just don't understand. It's more Nintendo online stuff that makes no sense. Now, you don't have to use the online app, but I almost wonder if this is victimized because of it, because there's no custom party creation for just inviting friends. It's just online, create a room or join a room. Now, you can see when your friend makes a room and you can join directly to there. But again, that doesn't solve the doubles issue, and only solves the everybody hanging out issue if you have 4 friends. So I don't know, Mario Tennis. I want to like you so much, and I want to play you so much, but I want to play you with friends. And right now you have not given me that opportunity.
So Camelot was also the ones behind Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, which was basically the last Wii U game that was released, I think, from Nintendo. And that was a very poorly received game, right? I think they announced it in August and said, hey, by the way, we do have a game coming out this year. I know you're all excited for all the hot new games. It's Mario Tennis. So we really hope you enjoy that. And that was basically it for that fall, I think. I think they had, maybe, I take it back. I think they had Mario Maker earlier in that year. But so they created that game. And Nintendo this year announced Mario Tennis in, was it the January Direct that they said it was coming?
Yes, I think so.
That was coming this year. And then they were kind of quiet about it and didn't say anything about it until right before E3. But and they're very similar games. Obviously, Camelot made both. Part of me wonders if they just quite literally took Ultra Smash and said, let's port it to the Switch. And now let's, after they realized that it ported real easily, they thought, let's add some new features in there, like a campaign mode. Maybe that'll make people happy. And then some new effects and stuff. So I'm kind of wondering if that's maybe how the game came to be, because it's really only been 2 years since Mario Ultra Smash came out. So Yeah, I've been playing it. I'm playing the campaign, and I've gotten through a few of the kind of areas, and it's a campaign, but not really a campaign. There are like a few little challenges here and there, but it's mostly just straight up matches that you're playing against other characters, with some minor changes baked in there. But there's a lot of like, was it Boo is apparently just like the complete overpowered character.
Yeah,
right?
There's all the tricky characters seem to be a little too tricky. Like I've been playing Rosalina, and some of her slices are like just impossible. Now with if you're playing a more defensive character, it's easy to like kind of respond to some of that with the trick shot. But if you're playing like the standard tennis, some of the stuff seems a little overpowered for them. And I understand that's not like the game mode that game's designed for, but yeah, it's Boo and Rosalina, and I want to say I can't think who the other tricky character is. It could be Toadette. She might be technical. I don't know, but yeah, those seem a little too strong.
Yeah, we'll see when we get far enough along in the game. I mean, we're taking a little bit slower. I haven't played the motion control mode. I think that's something that I'm going to be giving that a shot maybe this weekend. But I'm not as enthralled in that as I thought I was going to be. I guess I was really hoping that I'd be kind of glued into the campaign and the online stuff. But then I wasn't. It was the same way with ARMS, and I actually looked at the amount of time that I've played ARMS. I've really only played for like 15, maybe like 20 hours total. But it seems like it's been a lot more because of like the party crashes and the online tournaments they do. So I do hope that Nintendo has little tournaments and things for Mario Tennis. They've done a good job with the Splatfest and party crash style stuff that gets people back online in groups. I could see them doing something like that for Mario Tennis, having like tournaments. Maybe they're themed tournaments around like Wimbledon and other big events. I could see a weekend where people are playing Mario Tennis tournaments, and then the same goes for like Smash Brothers. I could see like themed online weekends and stuff. Yeah. So
it's like not having all these online options, especially as now we're building to every online game from now on from Nintendo is building to, is the online service worth it?
Yep.
And if Mario Tennis was the game that you're looking for that service, it isn't. It really isn't. And I'm hoping they're responding to the tournament thing, and like that almost immediately. It's going to be like maybe 2 weeks since that game came out. Or no, the game came out the 22nd, right? So it'll be less than a week they're responding to this tournament thing, and hopefully they'll respond to like the outcries. It's not just me. It's everything I read about that game. It seems to be complaining about just the features of it being, Nintendo saying you'll be able to play doubles and you'll be able to play with your friends. But then when you get it, it's not the way that you should be able to play. With
not the way you were actually thinking you'd be playing doubles.
Yeah, it's Nintendo-ified, right? And even like the old Smash Brothers on Switch or on the Wii U, everybody complained about how you weren't able to set your modes and stuff like that in online. It was very structured of it's not a stock battle. It's always a time battle and all that type of stuff. So,
by the way, that game went through. I think the game finally finished going through updates like a year and a half ago, right? Because that was I think there was a direct where Nintendo came out after right before the game launched, and Nintendo said, "Yeah, we're launching this game, but we're missing a lot of the stuff, and it's going to be rolled out over time." Like the different.
They did. Yeah, they did. I think even tournament mode and stuff like that.
Even tournament mode and some of the single player stuff, and even the amiibo characters took 2 years later. Some of those amiibo characters came out maybe 3 years later, actually. Like Bayonetta, that's right. Bayonetta came out. Bayonetta and Cloud came out around the time the Switch launched.
Yeah,
which was like 5 years after, or 4 years after Smash Brothers launched.
Yeah, it seems
pretty bonkers.
It seems a lot with these like on what should be online focused Nintendo games. They like to release them and then like adapt them from there, or like they have like a roadmap, but they want to get it's almost like early access a little bit. Like even Splatoon, it's like, hey, we're gonna release this. That's Splatoon 2 was like, hey, this is basically Splatoon 1.5. It's got all the maps that from the first one with a couple like 2 or 3 extras, and we'll be rolling out new content. And it feels weird because like Nintendo games online focus don't feel complete, but they're so adamant about making sure that their single player games feel like 100% like unique, like ready to go. You don't need any of the DLC experiences when they ship. Like Zelda, yeah, they had DLC down the line, but no one would say that like Zelda wasn't a finished game by the time you played it. Or Mario Odyssey, they keep trickling out like skins and stuff like that. But like, you know, no one's like, oh, well, 2 of the worlds didn't even exist in Mario Odyssey when the game launched. Like, I just don't understand why. And Camelot, I mean, Nintendo can kind of get a pass with this one because Camelot developed it. Now they worked with Camelot for years, so maybe giving them too long of a leash was a bad idea. But like Splatoon, they don't have any excuse other than they just wanted to get it out because everybody ignored Splatoon 1, even though it was a great game, but it was stuck on the Wii U. And the same with this. It seems like maybe they just kind of adapted the old Mario Tennis, Power Tennis, from the Wii U and have just delivered it over here. And I mean, I forgot that Wii U tennis game even existed.
Mario
until,
like Smash.
Until somebody mentioned it in a video or something, and I was like, oh, that's right, they did come out with a Mario Tennis then.
Because they literally threw that out there because they didn't have any other game for the fall. I think it was the Mario Maker year. They didn't have a single other game for the fall, and they said, let's just throw this out there because it's something.
But I wondered, like, did that game allow you to set match length? Did that game do doubles online? Like, that's like, because if you're tearing out features, that's horrible. But if it just if it just wasn't present there, then like, you know, there's kind of at least precedent for it not being here too. But yeah, I don't know. I want to be so excited about Mario Tennis. And again, the game plays great. Like playing locally with somebody is amazing. But man, just not an online game in 2018. Where are the custom rooms?
No, I know it should be there. It should be there. So I'm looking over the game modes in Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, and they had Mega Battle. Which was, you know, you get the Mega Mushrooms, and it's like a really simple. So Ultra Smash was a very poorly received game because it was pretty empty. There was not a whole lot of stuff. It literally was just tennis. Classic tennis, it's basically the same thing without the Mega Mushrooms, and a few extra little shots, like extra shot things here and there. Knockout Challenge, which was a single player mode. You just basically defeat a number of CPU opponents in a row. And then there was a Mega Ball Rally, which you're just hitting stuff back and forth. And this is the online stuff. So it says online can be played alone or with another player or amiibo character. I forgot they even had that in this. In singles or doubles. The game does not support lobbies or communities, whereas the only options are singles or doubles. Similarly to Smash for 3DS Wii U, online play is split in 2 categories: play for fun, play a serious match. So yeah, that's it. That's all it is. That was a pretty dumb, boring game. It looks like nothing changed. Looks like they didn't strip anything out of that game to get to where we are today. But one other game that they have been updating, oddly enough, and we mentioned it as part of I think it was one of my predictions, was you're going to get a Mario theme or some Nintendo themed Labo something or other. Well, this kind of happened. I think you brought it up too. Mario Kart, you can use Mario Kart 8 has just been updated to use the Labo controller.
Yeah, you can use the motorbike thing. And from the looks of it, you don't need to put the screen on it like you did for the like amiibo functionality or the Labo functionality. Because they showed 2 people playing it in that little trailer they released for it. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of nifty. We had talked previously that we thought it would only make sense for Nintendo to either make like a Nintendo-based Labo game or to start putting Labo into some of their other franchises. And this seems like the most realistic first step in that. is to make to just add it into a game. That's super easy to do. Like, obviously they know they can translate that controls to steering already. Might as well put it in the driving game. And I think this really opens up some of maybe the Labo experiences that we saw in that trailer but haven't come out yet. Like that blaster that they showed. That could be that might even be available in Splatoon, right? Like maybe that's that area in Splatoon that you go down, is they were planning that functionality all along. Or like, if there's always been rumors that they're going to bring Mario Maker back or some form of Maker for the Switch. Like, maybe you can use the piano to write your own music for the levels and stuff like that. Like, it seems like it would make so much sense to give people a reason to keep these cardboard creations sitting around, as opposed to, okay, well, I made it with my kid. This fishing rod's great, but 3 months from now, it's just going to be a piece of cardboard to him or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense to be like, okay, well, you've got this thing sitting around, like, well, let's utilize it. And I'm sure it'll move units too. Since the release, there's been those Labo kits sitting everywhere, and I'm sure GameStops and Best Buys around the world are so happy that there's another reason that they can clear those shelf space units.
Yeah, there's I guess that Nintendo, I don't know who it was that was quoted at, maybe it was Reggie or someone else, but they brought up the Labo and Mario Kart, and Nintendo replied back that we're going to be doing that with, it's not the first time, it's not the last time you're going to see that. So, and by that they mean implementing Labo into existing games, which I think is a great idea. It's a great idea. It creates yet another way to play some of the games. I mean, I can even see like a tennis Labo type of thing. I mean, maybe that's a way to play Mario Tennis is you can do the motion stuff right now, but maybe they give you a printout kit to do something with, you make a ball and a racket. I don't know. Yeah, I can see a lot of stuff. Maybe arms. Maybe there's a way to do Labo with arms. There could be something kind of cool there.
Oh, just briefly, something I just thought about Mario Tennis. Also, the first mainline like Nintendo game for a while that does not have amiibo support.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're right.
As far as I know, there's no amiibo support in Mario Tennis.
I'm doing a search right now. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about the amiibo, and no, it's not written anywhere. Yeah, nothing amiibo wise, which you'd think would at the very least just open up like some costumes, right?
Yeah, well, and even like third-party games are now starting to use amiibo in different ways for Nintendo games. So how a Nintendo game doesn't have amiibo support seems kind of weird.
Yeah, interesting. That's like one of the first few that doesn't. Interesting. Anything else you've been playing before we move on?
The only other game I've been I guess two technically. The first one is so thanks to great Amazon price airs. Last E3, I purchased a copy of The Crew 2.
Oh God, that was last E3. That's right. That's what was announced. And
thanks to Amazon gift cards, I've had it paid off for a while, so I completely forgot that was a thing until like I got the shipping notification from Amazon, and I was like, "Oh, hey, The Crew's showing up."
That's nice.
I have the gold edition, which means I get to play 3 days early, which doesn't matter because at midnight tonight it unlocks for everybody. So I've played around with The Crew 2 a little bit. I was a Crew 1 player. It's okay. It's definitely an arcade racer. They've done a couple things that allow you to change the feel of driving a little bit. Need for Speed has entered this territory a little bit where you can adjust some sliders so cars feel a little bit looser, more drifty and stuff like that. So it fits more of your like arcade style racer because they're a little stiff and boxy with just their default settings, and you can turn off like ABS and that type of stuff. So. It's okay. It certainly is like a cool thing to be driving down a highway and be like, crap, well, I've got a 90-degree turn ahead of me, or I can just change into a plane and fly over it. So like that novelty is definitely cool. And they've got like a ton more disciplines in this. They got like power boat racing and like Red Bull, like air stunt racing and all that type of stuff. So I haven't dug really too much into it yet. And the only reason I have it is because I do enjoy playing driving games with my friends. So I haven't yet joined a crew or crewed up.
Got it.
So once the crew is ready to play the crew, I can report back more on the crew. But it looks okay. Yeah, I mean, it's either this or hold out until Forza. That's about your only open world arcade driving experiences nowadays.
There's not a lot of racing games this year. I know this is like a fighting game year, but definitely.
Yeah, well, and I think even Need for Speed skipping this year.
Yeah,
because there wasn't any talk from EA, and the last two have been kind of stinkers. Other than that, though, our good friends at Bethesda were giving away Quake for free during E3.
They were.
So yes, so
the original Quake.
No, Quake Champions. They're new.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So it's going to be a free-to-play game at some point, but they basically, my feelings were, whenever companies do this, it's more of a reaction of, all right, well, we need to inject a lot of players into the player base. So, like, open it for 2 weeks, and, I think they actually extended it until the 22nd. But, yeah, they opened it for a few weeks, and if you started playing, you had it for all of the, like, beta time, and when it opens to everybody, maybe you'll get a free shiny thing or whatever. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit of Quake Champions. If you ever wanted to simultaneously still feel good at games and yet feel too old to play Twitch shooters, Quake Champions is your game, because there's so many times, and it's a shame. I have a couple of clips that I recorded, but I realized that my music was like playing over top of it, so can't put those anywhere online without getting strikes. But it's so fun. Like, it's so nifty to be like still good at like placing rocket shots, at being like, yeah, I can still do this. And then other times when you're in a fight and you're like, okay, I have control of this situation, I am guaranteed to win, and then you just get obliterated. So I'm glad that at 27 years of age, I'm not too slow to be playing those games still. But man, sometimes I load into matches and I don't even know why I bother. But yeah, Quake Champions is good. It's still like super Twitch-based shooter. I can still do strafe jumps pretty well, and keeping your momentum through jumps and going through like portals and stuff and rocket jumping. This time they added like more heroes. I guess there were like skins and stuff before. I don't know. I was an Unreal Tournament kid. I never played like the original Quakes. But they have like Overwatch kind of like alts now. So like one person has the ability to stealth and like, disappear from a fight, or one person has this teleporter that they shoot out. And if they teleport right on top of you, you take damage. Or they can use it as an escape and stuff like that. Or the guy I've been playing stacks like grenades from his back, and then you can pop off grenades and like use them as crowd control, or like to block off an area, or just use them as an extra gun, which is very helpful. But everything I've only played like Team Deathmatch and like a couple of the free-for-all games. So I haven't played any of the ranked duels or like any of the, I guess they have a 2v2 ranked game. But yeah, I think that plays like well. I'll probably continue to keep playing it for at least a little bit until I've reached the like level of, okay, now you're only playing against cool 18-year-olds that are way better at Twitch shooters than you are nowadays. So yeah, I think that's fun. Thank you, Tom, for the Quake t-shirt that was definitely yours and that you definitely accidentally left in my bag.
That's awesome.
So thank you for that Quake t-shirt.
Thanks,
that
Tom.
I occasionally wear. Hope your date's going well. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think Quake is probably about it, though.
Okay.
Of, what I've gotten a chance to play.
I'll be picking up Wolfenstein 2 tomorrow. I want to give that one a shot on the Switch, see how it holds up. I'm just so bogged down with games these days. It's unbelievable. Like, it's summer, but a lot is coming out, especially on the Switch, where everyone's kind of dumping all their indie games from like the last 4 years, 5 years. Like Inside and Limbo launched today. Paranautical Activity, the Blob is back after being on the Wii. They decided to relaunch that on the Switch. So yeah, a ton of games have come out over the last several weeks, and it's going to make summer pretty busy. But I just wanted to cover a couple of really quick news items, and we'll sign off for today. Showtime has announced their Halo TV series details finally. So
that's been rumored for a while, right? Yeah. I don't think I knew that Showtime was attached to it, but they've been basically since like the end of the Xbox 360's life cycle that they've been like, okay, we're working on a Halo TV show. We want to make it happen. It's going to be live action. But now it seems like they finally have a home in who is it? Sorry, I just said it. And I can't remember. Showtime. Yeah. I was going to say Stars. So good save. Yeah, so it seems like things are rolling there. They didn't really mention. I know that they announced like the writing team and who's directing it.
Yep. It's executive produced by Kyle Killen, who did Lone Star, and directed and produced by Rupert Wyatt, who did Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
So I mean, I've never seen those Rise of the Planet of the Apes movies, but from all sources that I've heard, those are pretty successful, nice movies.
They're good. They're nice movies.
Nice movies. Very child friendly. Probably not. But did they mention at all like how long like things have been like churning on that? Like, do they have like scripts yet, or do they have cast or anything like that?
They didn't. The only thing that they're saying now is that it's kind of in early production right now, and it's set to go into like full production in 2019. So at the very earliest, you're looking at tail end of 2019, early 2020 for the release of this, which would probably fall in line with Halo Infinite if everything sounds about right. So yeah, you'll probably get Halo Infinite and this together at the same time. It's the blurb about it says it's an epic new story experience set in the Halo universe. So it means it's probably not going to feature, it's not going to be centered around Master Chief. It'll be centered around other characters more than likely, but who knows? It's going to be a 10-episode series, limited series, so we'll see what happens.
Maybe we'll get Nathan Fillion.
Maybe we'll get
he's been in 2 Halos now. That's a face people know.
Exactly. Other than that, I did want to mention CD Projekt Red says they said that the Cyberpunk is still in like pre-alpha, which it looked really polished even for that pre-alpha that we saw. And I got to finish that right up, by the way. But it could still be years away from release. I mean, I think my guess was probably early to mid 2020, and that being a cross-generational game.
Yeah. What was it last week? Like Amazon or Best Buy or somebody started taking pre-orders for that game on PS4 and Xbox One. And I remember reading that being like, okay, like that game's going to be out in like 2 years maybe, but also maybe not on these platforms. So it might all
I know is I pre-ordered the game on Best Buy because they're my rewards thing instead. So I figured I'm going to get this in here real quick before, so I can get my 20% off. And then, that way I can, whenever the game comes out, I'll be picking it up.
Yeah, I was out at a bar on Saturday with a group of friends from my high school, and I hadn't seen somebody in a while, and they saw my Snapchat that I was at E3, and they're like, did you see Cyberpunk? And I was like, yeah, I saw Cyberpunk. And for like 45 minutes, I wasn't able to talk about anything else. I think I went from memory, like my entire, like, saying the demo of what happened. If you at home really want to know what happened in the demo, apparently audio leaked from.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Somebody recorded like the audio and put it online. I don't know if that's all been pulled down, but I listened to a little snippet of it. I was like, yeah, that's what the demo was.
Yeah, they handed out little pamphlets to all of us after the demo that said, "This is what you just saw in the demo."
Yeah, if you want to know how busy I've been since E3, I just cleaned out my bag, like finally finished cleaning out my bag from the trip, and I found that little like thing. I was reading over that, and I was like, oh, this is nifty.
I gotta do like 3 more write-ups, 2 hands-on, the Ubisoft hands-on, and then this Cyberpunk one, and I'll be all set. But yeah, there's Really, that's essentially it. Summer Games Done Quick is going on right now, so if y'all haven't started watching or donating, feel free to do that. Google is supposedly planning their own platform, their gaming platform that's going to be built around streaming. It's not their first time because they thought that Google TV was going to be a game console / multimedia device, and that didn't work out. So whatever, they're trying to do a streaming platform that's focused on gaming as well. And then Amy Hennig has left EA, like confirmed that she left EA. She actually left back in January, but the word finally came out today when somebody asked her point blank if she's still there, because she wasn't there talking about anything EA related at E3. So yeah, she's been gone from EA since January. Yeah, and apparently that was not a good breakup.
The news from what I've seen is they've like spinned it as like she said that the project she was working on at EA was shelved, but like we kind of all already knew that because they announced that that game was being like changed into an open world like games as a service game. Because that was the news, like when that game was like said to be delayed or whatever, they're like, oh well, it's not this single player epic anymore. And that's probably right around when she left the company, but yeah, she just didn't confirm it until today, well, whenever that interview was, but today the news broke about it.
Yep, and then there's the last bit of news is Overwatch has a brand new hero, and it's preaching diversity by incorporating it's a hamster and a ball called.
It's so good. I'm so excited to play it. I've never been more upset that I don't have like a PTR like PC version of that game, because man, I am all about like DPS tanks and like tanks that are used to like disrupt fights or to like initiate fights. And because Diva used to be what I called like a tank assassin, because Diva used to be able to like dive behind a team, kill a squishy target, and then just tank her way out of the team and just be like, I'm fine. Like, you guys just watched me murder your friend and didn't do anything about it. And like this guy, like, well, they're calling him Wrecking Ball, but he's like Hammond the hamster inside of his Wrecking Ball. And yeah, I just saw gameplay footage of him a couple of minutes before we started. And he has like guns, and he like walks around in like a little like pod thing. But he has a move where he just gets in it like a little hamster ball, and he rolls around. And he has like a grappling hook, which you can like tether onto things, and you basically can swing him like a wrecking ball to like control an area, to like knock people out of this area. And then he can also like, he can throw him, you can use momentum like physics gameplay like to swing him throughout the stage, and then also like swing him above opponents and basically just out of nowhere fall from the sky and like pop all the enemies up and then like shoot them out of the sky like when you hit the ground. And he's going to be so good. He's going to change the team dynamic of that game. And I'm always so excited whenever Blizzard releases a new hero, because it not only does it bring me back to Overwatch for like another 30 hours or however long I played with Brigitte when they released her, but it like it makes everybody relearn how to play the game. Because I'm at the skill level where it's like, you know, I'm usually in Diamond, so it's good players, but it's like players that like aren't quite great enough to like move on to that like pro level. And because of that, you see some like really crazy stuff like break out in that game. And man, he's gonna be so good, and I'm so excited to play as him.
That's awesome. I got to get back in Overwatch. It's been, you know, obviously falling behind with everything else that I've had here, so. But I'll get into it. I swear. Other than that, that's basically it for now. I know somehow just the two of us lasted an hour of beautiful, beautiful podcast making together. And I appreciate the time that we have spent together, Sam.
Why, thank you. I appreciate the time we've spent together also. I will, because we didn't quite get to it, and there's not too much of an update, but it has now been 2 weeks. Ubisoft is still holding my money hostage, and they're still looking into my issue. My issue is that they won't give me a refund.
Oh, geez.
That's all I want. And, you know, the problem is like, I'm almost willing to close the case and just admit defeat, and they can keep my money, and then I'll just cancel. Well, no, I'll just cancel my Amazon order. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get 2 copies of the game, Dally. That's crazy. Which is... the problem was what happened was I was blinded by Pudgy Star Fox, and no one told me that like that Ubisoft store is a nightmare. So it's my fault. I was blinded by Pudgy R-Wing Star Fox. So I'm still Pudgy Star Fox is coming home. That's gonna happen, but I would prefer if I got my money back from it now and just paid for it later. But yeah, no progress there. But I'm still holding hope. I just hope it doesn't like roll into October and like October 10th, like they're like, yeah, so we have approved your refund and your cancellation, like so. Yeah, but who knows? Ubisoft, get at me, please. I've tried to contact every single thing. I've contacted your Twitter support. They were useless. I've contacted your online support. They told me to mail in a ticket. I've mailed in a ticket. Still nothing back. Ubisoft also does not have any landline phone numbers to call in the United States.
Crazy.
There's one in the UK, and I was very tempted to like call the UK to try to figure this out, but yeah. Oh, you can find numbers for them online, but every time you call one of these numbers, they're like, we have conveniently relocated all of our support systems online.
Oh,
and I was like, you have not conveniently done anything to support me. So, yeah. So now here we are. Maybe next update will be I'll have my money back, but highly doubt it at this point.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. Oh, they got me so good with Pudgy Star Fox. I can't. They broke me, and they literally broke me. Yeah. So, dear Ubisoft, I love you. I'm playing The Crew 2.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's helping out. Yeah, he got it for like super cheap.
I'm an Ubisoft Club member. Hey, the Amazon paid that price, not them.
That's correct. That is correct.
You know, I'm an Ubi Club member. I've played multiples of your games on different systems and platforms. I'm a big defender of you. I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 is slightly gross, but that's a different story. But please, Ubisoft, I'm going to play the game. I'm buying the game, just not from you.
Well, hopefully it gets resolved. If not, I'm totally willing to hear this weekly update for the next 27 weeks, 26 weeks.
Yeah, whatever October 15th is.
Yeah.
So hopefully
unfortunately, we missed half Christmas the other day. Today is the 28th, and Monday was what, half Christmas, June 25th? So
sure.
That would have been a great half Christmas present to you.
Yeah. Well, apparently
your money back.
Apparently Ubisoft had an issue with The Crew 2 where people that bought the the Motorsport edition or something like that, the Motor Pack edition, over $100 edition, only available on the Ubisoft store. It did not ship out to customers because they were supposed to get it with the 3 days early thing as well. Didn't ship out to customers. A couple of customers had theirs shipped out, but the game box, the actual game,
yeah, that's right,
wasn't in the box.
Oh my god!
So I'm so sorry, dear friends, that we're stuck with The Crew. And yeah, so I went on their support page to check to see if there were updates on mine. Of course there wasn't, but like at the top of the thing, it was like high support numbers, like may have a delay in response. And then it was like known support issues, like delivery of The Crew 2. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I dug into it and oof, Ubisoft.
Oh God. It's just one thing after another. Well, he's a member, guys. He's a club member.
I'm a club member, man. I have 1,000 points. I could have used 200 points to get 20% off of that order, and I didn't even do it. Mostly because I didn't know that was an availability to me. But the other point is I'm that good of a club member. I like you, Ubisoft. We've been friends. Just please do me this solid. Please refund my money. There's no reason not to. I requested very nicely. It is obviously not the week of shipping because that game comes out in October. So here I am. I'm just a boy who needs a refund.
Just a boy who needs a refund. Well, that's gonna finish it for this week. Sam, thank you again for being my co-pilot on this journey of gaming information and fandom. I look forward to future conversation about things that we have such as played and any news that might pop up. Have a good one, man. Where can we find you?
I am still, as always, at SamDI79 on Twitter. Have not tweeted once since the last side questing on June 19th, other than obviously to retweet that we were live today. So no new hits there, but who knows? Apparently, the Crew 2 has quite a few funny signs in their game world. So maybe we'll see some Crew 2 screenshots. Maybe we won't. We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out. All right, everybody. You can find me at Dolly Domovsky on the same platform known as the Twitter. You can find us at SideQuesting TV on I believe YouTube and on Twitch and sidequesting.com. We are a website. We'll see you guys on the next SideQuest. Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.